kid. Thought they were gone but they back from the dead. Working on that and I'm trapped in the street. Only way out is the blast of the head. Drowning my thoughts and I'm gasping for breath. Every time I wake up I feel sad and depressed. I don't ever wanna get out of my bed. I got pain and regret living down in my chest. Therapists they tell me these pills will make you healthy, but I know that they won't help me. Use my problems to get wealthy. Now I'm back in the dark. My life won't get too far. I'ma end this shit tonight, so I'm writing you this goodbye. Cause no one's ever there when you need them most. All I really got left is the weed I smoke. Think I'm better off dead, never leave my home.
So firstly, I just wanted to ask you, how did you get into the trap metal scene, and like, what was it about that particular genre that drew you in?
Man, I've always really liked like darker sounding music. I always thought it kind of sounded the coolest. I never really liked like happy sounding music. Like if you go to like my playlist and shit, it's never really like upbeat or happy music. It's like hardcore angry or sad shit. And I just always think that that kind of music just goes harder and it bumps a lot harder. And it just sounds the coolest, man. Like I really like metal music and trap music, and I just really like both those genres, and I think it's dope as fuck that I can like combine them, you feel me?
Definitely, man. I've always loved trap metal. When I started my record label, I was immediately drawn to signing and producing trap metal artists, so I always love to come across a new one, and that's why I was pretty stoked to get you on here.
Oh yeah, man, I appreciate that.
And secondly, would you say there is a pretty, good group of artists that in that genre had definitely inspired your sound, and how have you taken that sound to kind of make it your own and, match your style and maybe stray a little away from what the generic trap metal sound is like?
Oh, I feel you, man. So the biggest artists in like that kind of genre that inspire me the most, I would say, is like Bones, Night Lavelle, Bill Saber. Those are some of my favorites.
Hell yeah.
And that's kind of the shit that really, like, I hear them spit some dope shit, and then it just inspires me to start making music. But how I kind of developed it into like my own sound was I took kind of a little bit more inspiration from some of the metal bands I like.
Yeah.
Like Mayhem and Dark Funeral and Bathory, Nargaroth. Like I took kind of like the like groggy vocals from that shit, and I was like, what if I fucking rapped in that voice? So I started practicing it, and then it just kind of evolved over time into what it is, and kind of found my sound, man.
Hell yeah, man. I love that. All of those musicians you just listed are definitely up there in my top 10. And
oh yeah, dude.
I wanted to ask you about your new EP, Despair. What was the process of working on that? And would you say you're more proud of this one than your previous projects?
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. I think it's some of like the best shit I've ever made. Every song I make, I just feel like I get better and better. And it was really cool to be able to make a project with multiple songs for like the fans to listen to, because normally I just been dropping a lot of singles. But it was a good few months of making the EP. We initially had a couple songs that I had recorded and made, but listen back on them, I wasn't really feeling them that much, so I decided to like scrap everything, and then I put together Despair in like the course of a month.
would you say, compared to previous projects, that the quality and just the overall, shining on this one definitely overpowers what you have done before?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, practice makes perfect. With every project that I work on, I get better at vocal delivery and beat production, mixing and mastering and stuff. It's definitely a learning process, but I seem to be going nowhere but up, man.
Hell yeah, man. I finished listening to it earlier today, and I gotta admit, I was really feeling it, man. I like the whole overall vibe, and which leads to my next question. Was that strategically planned to drop around Halloween, because it fit perfectly?
Oh, hell yeah, man. I love Halloween. Halloween's my favorite holiday, man.
Me too.
So I was just like, I want to do something special for Halloween. Let's drop a fucking EP.
Hell yeah. Do you think, based off of, I've seen a lot of good feedback on this one, do you think, based on that, there would definitely be more EPs and maybe a full album in the future?
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. Like, I'm really excited to start working on music again. I'm gonna give the EP like a little bit of time to grow, but I'm gonna start working on new music soon, seeing if I could put some shit together.
Hell yeah, man. And was there any concept to this whole Despair EP?
Yeah, it's pretty much like, as you go through it, it's kind of like a journey to my own personal mental hell. Just like the despair and torment that I kind of feel like every day.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love that raw. That's one of my favorite thing about trap metal, is it infuses a rawness of fucking trap, and then you have the rawness of metal, and I think combining those two is really the next move, the next step. And I would say I think it's helping a lot of younger people feel pretty welcome and feeling like they have found something they finally can fit into.
Oh yeah, man, I totally agree with that.
Also, as far as COVID goes, but is there any hope for any Sardonic live shows in the future?
Oh yeah, dude. I've been wanting to do a show for like a long time, COVID or not,
Yeah, man.
Like, I've been wanting to fucking hop on stage for months now. Like, I'm gonna plan on going to some like local kind of like underground venues here in like Denver. I still gotta look for some places, but I'm definitely looking forward to doing that in the future.
Man, some of those underground venues in the Springs and Denver are some of my favorites, man.
Fuck yeah, dude.
That scene, there's a lot of diversity, and I've seen that trap metal coming up over in Colorado, and I'm really loving it.
Hell yeah, dude.
So what would you say in the next 5 years, where would you want to be within your musical journey?
Oh man, I definitely see myself improving a lot on my music. I have a long ways to go, and I have a lot of room for my music to grow, and I just see my fan base and my cult getting bigger.
Yeah.
A lot of live shows, a bunch of merch drops, full-length albums, EPs, singles, collabs.
Yeah, man, I will definitely have to add some of that merch and albums to my collection. I have a huge fucking collection of trap metal.
Dude, that's badass, man.
So, on another topic, when you first were barely starting out, did you start kind of from the trenches with this, whatever you could get a hold of, and how would you say, what steps did you take to progress to get a more refined sound and just improve on your craft?
Oh man, it's crazy. I started writing music when I was like 12 years old, but I didn't have like a laptop or a mic or anything. Didn't know how to produce beats until like in like my freshman year of high school. I got my laptop and then I bought FL Studio, and that's when I started learning how to produce beats. And then I got a microphone too. And when I first started, man, I'll admit I was fucking garbage. Like, kids
Me
in school
too.
and shit were making fun of me. And I really did not have my sound yet. I wasn't even really making, like, the trap metal shit yet, just because I didn't know how. And one day I just got kind of pissed off because I didn't really feel the style of my music. So I just tried to sound like as angry as I could, and doing my voice in that kind of like groggy and evil tone was really the best way to convey my emotions. And that's when Wishing I Was Dead came out.
Nice.
Yeah, and I plan on keep using all that like emotion and that drive to just kind of keep pushing forward in my music, keep grinding every day.
I feel like for me as a producer and a record label owner, and I also have a record store out here, I feel trap metal can be a hard genre to get the mixing and the quality right. Do you have any advice for some people that are just starting out in trap metal? Because I've seen a lot of them really struggling, and if you have any just couple quick pointers, maybe point them in the right direction.
Yeah, man. I mean, the best advice I can give is just make whatever type of music that you want to make, and don't give a fuck about what anybody thinks about it, because that's the music that you're making for yourself. Put your heart into it, keep working on it, keep improving on it, watch some YouTube videos on how to get better, and just kind of give any free time you have into it, because all that effort's gonna pay off eventually. Like, even if you're fucking garbage like I was when I first started, you will get better if you just put in the time.
Yeah, definitely, man. I love that. When you first started out, did you start off in the genre, and is there anything kind of in particular that led you towards that sound? Or more specifically, were you listening to a lot of that, or did it kind of catch your attention at some point?
I was always pretty heavy into it. Like, when I was a freshman in high school, I was listening to a lot of like Suicide Boys and Ghostman.
Yeah.
But when I was making music, I didn't quite know how to kind of make that genre of music, even though deep down I kind of knew that was always the genre of music I could make, that I wanted to make. But I just didn't have like the skill set or the ability to do that. So I would just kind of try to write bars that sounded cool, or like try to make cool sounding beats, and just experiment with all the different shit I could do.
Yeah, man.
And then it just kind of evolved. I started really getting into like metal music, and then that influence started having an effect on the music I made.
Yeah, man, for sure. And would you say that any time soon or years from now that your sound might kind of transform into something else or stick to the roots?
You know, man, I'm down to try like new things with like my style, but I do also want to stick to like my underground roots. Like I don't want to go like mainstream or anything,
Yeah.
but I'm definitely gonna like try some new things with my music, just because I always love experimenting with things that I like to do or things that might not work. It's just all part of the learning process, man.
For sure, man. Would you ever have any interest in live instrumental recording and possibly a live band to go along at some point for live shows?
Yeah, that would probably be pretty cool at some point in the future. My brother is also my manager. He plays guitar. You know, it's pretty sick. It would be pretty sick to be on a live show and like kind of do some vocals while he's playing the guitars.
Nah, I love that shit, man. And
yeah, dude.
you know, for anyone listening, I did interview Ghostmane on his early days, which you can find in my book, Dejected Interviews, if anyone is looking to see how to start out in the early days and what he did. And I think that applies to a lot to kind of what you were talking about. And yeah, I really think you're headed on the right direction. That new EP, I definitely really see something in that.
Dude, that really means a lot to me, man. Like, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem, man. I think I listened to it 3 times today. It was good shit.
Dude, fuck yeah, man. I really appreciate that, man, and I think it's dope as fuck that somebody thinks like my music is cool enough to like come and interview me, man.
Oh, definitely, man. I had to get you on here. And lastly, well, not quite lastly, I got 2 more questions for you. Firstly, at times when you felt like giving up, was there anything in particular that kept you going?
Oh yeah, man. Like, there's been a lot of times where I've just felt fucking hopeless, you know, but then I just think about why I'm doing it, because fucking music has saved my life so many fucking times.
Me
like,
too, man.
I've had so many like fake people in my life and shit, and all this fucking bullshit, being abandoned and stuff, but the music is the one thing that's like never abandoned me and never left my side, and I want to be able to like do that for some people, you know what I mean? So that, thinking about that shit, that really keeps me going, man.
Definitely, man. I admire that. And lastly, to anybody listening who knows you or any new listeners, what message would you like to give out to them in regards of just the people who've been listening and people who might discover you? What would be one message that you would tell to these people?
Man, something I really want to like convey with my message and like the music and just the whole brand, man, is that like if you're like super fucked up, depressed, have anxiety, or suicidal, just know like you're not alone, man. Like there's so many other people that feel that way, and I want to convey that in my music, and I want you to know you're not alone, because I've been there and I've done that, and it fucking hurts, but I know you can get through it, because I'm still here. So if I'm still here, if I can do it, you can do it too.
I love that, man. And anyone else listening, don't be afraid to ask for help. It's hard and it does take courage, but anyone else out there struggling, ask for help. And there's a lot of people out there who feel like you do, and like my boy Ardonic here said, you're never alone. And I think that's the perfect way to end this, and I thank you very much for being on my show.
Yeah, man, anytime. I'm fucking glad I could be here. Thank you for interviewing me. Thanks for supporting the EP. I'm glad you liked it, man, and I really appreciate some of the shit you said about it.